What goes bump and howl in the night? A drunk werewolf stumbling home from the bar. But what if he got into a bar fight before he made it home? A young chap and him have a couple slaps, get kicked out, and now it's a back alley brawl. Once the real fighting starts, instincts snap into action, and our drunken werewolf has now passed on the siren's song, it sounds like a chihuahua, of lycanthropy to another unsuspecting victim, just as himself. Hi, I'm Wes from Rolling Deep, and I'm here to fill you in on how you can use lycanthropy in your D&D 5e campaign. Before jumping into a bunch of stat blocks and numbers, let's relax and talk about lycanthropy as a whole, because nothing is more relaxing than being cursed. Being turned into a werewolf isn't new in our media sphere. I feel like you have that concept down pat. However, lycanthropy in D&D also includes some incredible differences, such as were-bears, were-boars, and were-cats. We have variety in here. Anyways, I feel like we should start with where lycanthropy originated from in order to help the DMs in the chat with some world building. After doing some research, it seems it doesn't have an official origin in 5e. Lycanthropy just exists in the world. There is some explanation for lycanthropy in the 3e sourcebook, Races of Faerun, that states the god of Malar imbued a tribe of warriors with the primal spirits of the beast. But for 5e, it's just established that curses can do some wacky stuff, and this falls under that umbrella. If you're cool with ignoring that whole concept, great. Otherwise, the origin of your strain of lycanthropy would be a great plot point. Introduce a cult whom have been infecting travelers with lycanthropy by praying to Malar maybe. So now that we kind of know what lycanthropy is, let's dive into what the players will experience during their transformation. Now, our sources for this gave variations on how all this goes down, but the one that I believe really hits the nail on the head is the description done by BlackCitadelRPG.com. In their article, they state, a person who contracts lycanthropy may not even know it at first. After their first transformation, they may have no recollection of the events of the previous night, though the memories may return in the form of horrible nightmares. The recently cursed lycanthrope will be forced to choose between fighting or accepting the curse. Most will give in to their bestial urges and lose themselves to the call of the wild. They mention nightmares a little bit, but that is going to hold major indicators for your players during rest that something is wrong. It won't be a normal depression nightmare either, as they tend to be rapidly changing, pulsingly intense, and urges players to act more on their instinct in the following days. Give your players the context clues they need in order to solve the puzzle without outright stating it for them, to have that aha moment if they don't recall contracting the curse at all. A flash of silver, their weakness, maybe transferred memories that give some directions to the cult from earlier, or just let them have visions of blood bags they want to rip apart. Okay, cool Wes, I've failed my saving throw, now I'm a werewolf. What next? How does this translate to D&D? Well, I found a good resource that you can use to reference some details that I'm going to say below. Shout out to Halfling Hannah from halflinghobbies.com, where a lot of the following information was found on. After your first nightmare, your DM will have to decide when and where you'll have your first test of strength to see if you can resist your primal urges. Considering every lycanthrope will be put to the test at least once a month during a full moon, it would make sense that they would try to align those incidents. Otherwise, after about a week of having the curse course through their veins would be a good time to introduce that. If they control their urges, nice. I'll tell you about some awesome immunities in a second. But if you fail to control your urge, you are subjected to memory loss and total control of your inhibitions. Most will not have the power of will initially to master the art of polymorph unless they have lycanthropy from birth. So this could be a continuous and evolving plot point in your campaign if the player chooses to pursue it. And those immunities, oh man, all lycanthropes, even in human form, are immune to non-magical / non-silvered bludgeoning, slashing, and piercing damage. What? Screw you fighters. You can do this whole Squid Game paper flip challenge all you want. No damage. Your other stats will remain largely unchanged unless your particular branch of lycanthropy is quite nasty. And you actually get to gain a skill point in the category that makes the most sense, a la strength or dex. This should rely on the type of lycanthropy you contracted. If eventually the player is able to master their primal urges, they gain the ability to polymorph on command under their free will. Some interpretations allow players who aren't masters to polymorph at will as well, but they may not remember what happened during their transformations. Okay, running around on 4 legs has been fun, but it's starting to get a little old. My party members make me poop outside, I have fur on all my clothes, and I always wake up naked after losing my cool. Well, maybe that last one is just me, but if you're finished with this curse, it's pretty simple to remove. All you have to do is cast or drink something with the remove curse spell, and you should be good to go, unless you were born with it. No, it isn't Maybelline, it's an impossibly hard curse to remove, as the only way to accomplish this is with the wish spell. Unless you stumble upon a genie or are best friends with Dumbledore, this one might be impossible for lower level characters to cure. I want to emphasize the potential that Lycanthropy has to tell interesting stories and the ones that can emerge that are player driven. As we've stated before, the more direct influence a player has on the story, the more fulfilled they are after that session. So if your mom was a werefolk, you might want to lean into mastering your abilities of polymorph control instead of completely removing that tool from your skill set. Thank you so much for biting into another one of our videos. Hopefully after watching you have a slightly better understanding of how this curse can be used in your D&D campaign. Do not hesitate to check out the Halfling Hobbies article linked down below if you're planning a homebrew yourself. Seriously good work done over there. And if you liked any of these videos, give us a like and a subscribe, follow us over on Instagram and Twitter, and check us out live on Reddit, Twitch, or here on YouTube. Have a good session, everybody, and keep on rolling. And cut!